Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Putt.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be here. Today is the 28th of July. 28th of July. Can you believe that we're already almost to the month of August? Crazy, crazy, crazy. So our sun sign currently is in Leo. Leo is a fire sign. So for the course of this period of time, this month that began for us last Saturday, last on the 22nd right here, moved into Leo. We're there for a month. So Leo, fire sign. Fire is all about ideas, creativity. We have fire, water, air, and earth. Fire, the ideas of God. Water is the emotions of God or the love of God. Air are the words or actions of God, and earth is the form of God. Because God, that energy, that pure source, flows through all things, emanates through all things, has many different forms. Form of fire, water, air, earth. Ideas, emotions, actions, and form. Okay, so spirit pours itself into all of these varieties and manifestations of energy as it gets slowly down from a state of non-density to density, from the non-visible to the visible realm that we bring into manifestation. So with this, we're looking to take our ideas and bring them forward into life. But the whole secret of this is there's an animal, the animal nature. That animal nature inside each one of us wants to be an animal. But being an animal really isn't efficient for us, so we have to tame ourselves. We use our imagination. This is what this woman represents. She's got the white clothing on, represent purity, because in the spiritual hierarchy of things, the color white represents the purity. And so we've got the purity of our own subconscious thought. It's a female because our subconscious thought is feminine in aspect. And so we're looking to tap into that purity of the feminine aspect of who we are, that part of ourselves that receives. Okay, the male gives, the female receives. And so the aspect of ourselves, look, that is the purified, feminine, receiving aspect of life. Receiving what? Receiving from spirit. And as we are receiving that, we're able to use that energy to tame that animal nature within ourselves, so we're not jumping out into the world in an attack way, but using the energy in its form of creativity. Okay, so this is our sun sign. This is what we're dealing with, the conscious mind, taming the beast within. That's what we're looking to do. Now our moon sign has been in Taurus, and it will continue to be there only for a short period of time longer. Let me show you right here. Shows here that Taurus goes void of course. The moon sign goes void of course at 10:13 a.m. So in a little while from right now, and it's going to be void of course between 10:13 and 1:17. What the void of course means is the moon sign, our unconscious desire, changes every 2.5 days, and as it goes from one sign to the next, at a certain point in time, it passes the last marker of that sign. And until it reaches the next sign, it's still feeling the effect of that sign. Okay, it's like traveling down the road and you see the mile marker saying 30 miles or 10 miles to the border of the next state. And so you've got not going to see any more signs, let's say, and you've got that last little bit of distance to go until you reach the next area. And then when you do, things change because now you're in that next area. So you've passed the last. Let's say it's a gas station on the road. We've just passed the last gas station on the road until we get to the next town, which is the next moon sign. And so we have to drive all that distance from that last gas station all the way until the next gas station, finishing out and feeling the effects of the moon sign that we've just currently had, which is Taurus. And once we get to that gas station, once we get to that next phase, now we start to feel the next sign, which is Gemini, the lovers, the unconscious mind, helping us to make choices. So we're going from the Hierophant, the spiritual teacher, which is connecting in spirit. Now we want to make that spirit usable, because when we allow our conscious mind to look towards the feminine aspect, the unconscious mind, and the unconscious feminine aspect is looking towards spirit, we now make what is learned in here, the hooking spirit together with the physical, we now make it more usable in the world. That's the important part. Okay, all of these energies are around us for us to be able to utilize these energies. If we don't understand them, then we just get bounced around by them. If we understand them, then we can understand the aspects that are taking place, and we can understand how we fit in with all of it. Okay, so some of the other things we're looking at for the course of today, we've just had a square, a lesson we're dealing with communication. So Taurus is learning how to communicate, bring spirit into the mix, understanding what it is that we have to say in the world, our responsibilities in that. So Mercury, the communicator, the messenger, dealing with the lessons of Taurus. And then as we move forward, 1013, we go void, of course, but at that period of time, Taurus and Mars are going to be in opposition, opposing points on the teeter-totter. So we want this high energy of the Mars aspect to balance itself out with the earthly aspect of Taurus. Okay, we want it with all that energy. We want to be able to hook spirit together so we can make it usable. And finally, at 1:17 p.m., the moon goes into Gemini, where it will be for the next 2 days, all the way to the 30th. And Gemini is all about communication. It's the lovers, choices, responsibilities. The moon sign currently is 31.3% of the way full. August 2nd, which is coming up quicker than we realize. That actually will be on Tuesday. This coming Tuesday is August 2nd. That's amazing. August is already here. So that will be the new moon. The day on the Jewish calendar, 22 Tammuz. 22 Tammuz. Daily thought, martyrs of life. What is unique about Jewish martyr, wrote Rabbi Shalom Dovber of Lubavitch, is that he doesn't want to be a martyr. He would rather stay alive. So what's unique about a Jewish martyr is that he doesn't want to be a martyr. He would rather stay alive. And finally, looking up at the wind, the energy around us, the solar energy coming off of a space solar wind, 394.9 kilometers per second. Planetary K index, quiet at a 2, but will be unsettled over the next 24 hours at a 4. Few coronal holes right here. M-class flare possibility is 1%, X-class 1%. Here we have the duck. You could see he's above the Earth, a flat plane above the Earth. Okay. Geomagnetic storm activity is decreasing in the mid-latitudes, 30 down to 25, 10 to 5. Upper latitudes, it also is decreasing, 40 down to 30. So a little bit of subsiding in the universe with the energies around us. So we have a fire sign for the month, the conscious mind. So the conscious mind has all of these ideas, this creativity it wants to express, but it needs to express it and find a way to express it through the unconscious mind, which at the moment is in Taurus, but by this afternoon, actually 10:17, 10:18 a.m., we're going to be into the next sign, which is Gemini, which is wanting us to express this creativity through the lens of our own responsibility. Okay, we want to understand the responsibility, and every time we create, we learn more about the creating process. And every time we learn more, we have more responsibility about how we make our next choices. You see, we're not victims in anything about life at all. We are continually learning, and as long as we continually learn what it is that is coming our way and we continue to make progress, we'll continue to grow and evolve. That's the part of life that is here for all of us, evolving, growing, so on. Okay, UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today I have 4 stories. The first one takes us to Charlottesville, Virginia. It happened on the 24th, 4 days ago. Here's one really interesting footage of a triangular-shaped UFO formation hovering in the sky above Charlottesville in the United States state of Virginia. This was filmed Sunday the 24th. Witness says this UFO triangle was seen by myself and another around 8:55 p.m. on the 24th, which is a Sunday, over 29 North near Kroger in Kmart, Charlottesville, Virginia. A digital video was taken by me. UFO first stationary, then moved to a northeast straight line path, and it was gone. Okay, so what we have here is we have a 36-second video. And there's our object in question. Okay, very good. Links available. Check it out, and you'll be able to maybe get some ideas. All right, here's a webcam in Mexico. Webcams of Mexico. We've certainly seen these plenty of times, and they periodically catch something happening. And in this case, we could see right here, you could see what looks like a number of UFO related items. Actually, a full on Armada as it's being described. And you could see right here, we've got 1, 2, 3. At times there's 4. Here it looks like, is that another one up there? Or maybe that's just a smudge on the screen. You can see a whole bunch right there. All right, if I says we have heard about the fleet of UFOs frequently seen passing over cities of Mexico a few years ago, it seems it's never stopped. Here we see a fleet of black UFOs moving past a church and continuing to hover slowly away. Okay, so what we have here is there's a little more close-up still shots. All right, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Just a good shot of the group of them. See, if someone was to take a picture on its own and not tell you what it was, they might just tell you these are balloons up in the sky. But having seen a little bit more of it, we understand this is not just a balloon in the sky. Okay, so there you go. That's webcams of Mexico. But for Mexico, we also have something else. This time over Colima Volcano. Here we have an object right here. This was also on the 27th. So the question is, was this part of the other group? Somehow related to that. I caught this UFO over Colima Volcano in Mexico today. It is oval-shaped and dark, much like the other UFOs seen near the volcano over the years. All right. Webcams in Mexico, so it's the same webcam setup as the other one. And volcano and the questioning object, or object in question. And finally, one last story here. Boater in New York sees a cigar-shaped UFO dropping orbs in the water. Lake Champlain boater describes UFO emitting objects to the ground level. A Vermont witnesses Lake Champlain reported watching a cigar-shaped UFO that appeared to drop 3 or 4 unknown orbs that fell on the ground level, according to testimony from the MUFON Witness Reporting Database. The witness said, I looked up, saw the unknown object slowly flying across the sky, called the attention of my sister and father, who joined me in observing the object. I observed it dropped about 3 or 4 unknown orbs which fell to the ground out of sight from wherever we were. The object then hovered in the same spot for about 20 minutes before it disappeared. I recall the object being white and the orbs it dropped also being white. However, my sister recalls the object and the orbs being black. My father thought it was a blimp and was quick to brush off the thought of a UFO. We saw the unknown craft again hovering over a spot closer to us when we traveled north into Burlington Bay. The craft quickly vanished again after that. Lake Champlain is a natural freshwater lake in North America, located mainly within the borders of the United States and the states of Vermont and New York. All right, there you go. That's our UFO news for today. I'll be back. We're going to jump into something very important momentarily. Stay tuned.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brothers watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What if by land and two if by sea? And I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
Okay. Time to demand the truth. What is truth? What is truth? Well, when you're watching the conventions in the political game, truth is generally the opposite of what is going on. Okay, let me give a little disclaimer here. First of all, I am going to be talking about the political scenario that's taking place right now. Second of all, where do I particularly stand in all of this? I myself am not a Democrat or a Republican. I don't label myself that way. Okay, over the years, I've looked at the candidates. I wasn't a fan of George Bush. I wasn't a fan of the father. I wasn't a fan of any of their activities whatsoever. During the last election cycle, I liked Ron Paul. I went to the Ron Paul Fest. I was at both the Democratic and the Republican conventions. I participated in the process to see what was happening, and I watched Ron Paul get screwed. I watched Ron Paul get treated unfairly. The same thing that they did to Ron Paul is what they're doing to Bernie Sanders and the Bernie Sanders supporters right now. So I see and I understand the process. I feel bad for the people out there that are supporting Bernie because I could tell that there's a lot of confusion, not knowing what to do. If you go on YouTube, you can watch live video streams from out there in Philadelphia, just like we were able to watch live streams from out in Cleveland. You got the live streams taking place inside. You got a variety of different networks that are showing that. I've been watching the different events taking place here at these conventions on C-SPAN. But there's other places you can go. If you go to the mainstream channels, Fox, MSNBC, CNN, what you're going to be seeing is bits and pieces of the convention in the backdrop. Well, the commentators on those particular news networks are talking, and then they jump in when something's important. If you want to skip all of that and just go straight to the convention and see what's going on, go to C-SPAN. You can go online. You could also find live streams, and you could see uninterrupted what is taking place. So here we are at this election, and I, wanted to step back and see what's going on. I wasn't going to jump in like I did last time with Ron Paul and get all excited about a process because at the end, it was just a big disappointment. Now here we are. I'm certainly not a fan of Barack Obama. Over the course of the years, you've heard me talk about him. I don't mince words when I say I believe he's playing the role of the Antichrist. I don't believe him to be a man that is really out for the people. He speaks a good game, very, very charismatic. He has an ability to weave a spell over people. But when you get down to checking what he's about, he's just a real scoundrel. He's not who he claims to be. He's got that big smile and lets you think everything's okay. Well, on the other hand, he's twisting the knife inside of you, digging a little further, twisting it, causing a little extra pain. So here we are at this election, and I've decided after watching what's going on between the various candidates that the one I think is the best suited for the job is Donald Trump. Why do I think that? I think that because I look at what is the problems that we're facing. One, we have a problem of the economy. In order for anybody to move forward, you have to balance your bank account out. You have to balance your budget. You have to know what kind of money you have available to you and know what kind of money you need so that you can go about doing the business you need to do. So the economy is one of the problems. The other problem that we have is security for this country. Now, Donald Trump has some ideas and things that he wants to express in order to be able to fix the problems. See, basically what he wants to do, he wants to take a pause in the system to fix it. Why? Because he can't fix the system as long as it's still going. Think of it this way. Think of the system like a ride at an amusement park. The ride at the amusement park broke down. Now, when the ride breaks down, what do they do at the amusement park? In order to fix it, they have everybody get off of the ride. Everybody get off of the ride so that somebody can go in and fix it. And then when they get done fixing the ride, what do? They let everybody back on the ride. Okay, so here we have a system, an immigration system, that's broken. It's broken. It's not doing the adequate checks it needs to on the people that are coming into this country. Therefore, there are those coming into the country that have bad intents, and they're getting mixed in with those who really do need to get over to this country because they're escaping some sort of prosecution. So we have those who are truly escaping versus those who are invading, and they're all mixed together. And of course, the invaders, they don't care about the other people. So they don't care if they give them a bad name because the invaders are selfish and are only thinking about what it is that they want to do. Invade. So if we look at the problem, I can turn a blind eye to it and say, nope, there really isn't a problem going on. There really wasn't anything that happened in Orlando. There really wasn't anything in San Bernardino. That was all made up. There wasn't a shooting incident that occurred with police officers. That was all made up. There wasn't any of these instances. They're all simply made up. They didn't happen. That's what I would have to believe in order to believe that there was fear-mongering. When I've asked a few people what they thought about the conventions, anyone that I know that is liberal, their reaction is that it was a hate fest, fear-mongering. Fear-mongering, really, because we're concerned that the people coming into the country want to kill Americans. So that's fear-mongering because we're pointing that out. To those people who think that's fear-mongering, let me help you out. You really do need to pull your head out of your ass. Okay? If you think that pointing out that there are people in this country that want to kill American citizens is fear-mongering, then you've got a bigger problem to worry about, and that's your head stuck up your ass. So you need to pull it out first before you continue any more conversations, because right now you're just talking shit, basically. Okay? We've got a problem that's going on. We can either turn a blind eye to it, or we can address the problem. The Democrats want to turn a blind eye, and they want Americans to think that there's no problem. Meanwhile, priests are getting beheaded in churches. Meanwhile, women are getting raped by Syrian immigrants. But we need to pretend that that doesn't exist. Well, Donald Trump wants to address the situation, and the way he wants to address it is to stop the ride, just like at an amusement park, stop the ride, have the people come to fix the ride, and then let people back on. That's all. But the mainstream media, they did a great hatchet job in Donald Trump close to a year ago. And those individuals who are still spouting Donald Trump's being racist, well, are those who stopped listening to anything he had to say about a year ago. Once the mainstream media came out and, put together their hatchet piece, that's all people heard. And they're going with that story, even though there's been plenty of opportunity to listen to what this man has to say over and over and over and truly understand. People are still going with that story that he was a racist. At one point, Donald Trump was Democrat. We all know that. During any of that time when he was Democrat, what's interesting? Nobody was accusing him of being racist. Nobody. Didn't hear anything about it. Didn't hear anything about Donald Trump being racist till he decided to run as a Republican against the Democratic Party. Suddenly, they all turned upon him. See, that's what the Democratic Party seems to do. As I step back and I look, they seem to turn upon their own. Now, the Republican Party's no better, and the only reason I have any interest in the Republican Party right now is because of Donald Trump. If Donald Trump wasn't in the race, I certainly wouldn't be doing anything with the Republicans. I'm simply voting for the person I think is the best one for the job. Since we have a problem with the economy, I look at the two candidates. We have Hillary, who is a politician who has been in office for 30 years. The last 8 years, we can't forget about the fact that the Democrats have been in control. So if there's any complaints about the things that are still problematic in the world that they haven't accomplished, it's on the Democrats. They've been in office. When you listen to the people coming up speaking at this convention, they brought this one girl up there, and she's talking about how she was afraid every day that someone was going to come and take her mama away because her mama was an illegal alien, an undocumented worker. Every day she's afraid. And they tried to pin it that this was something related to Donald Trump. But guess what? Donald Trump's not in office right now. So if that little girl is afraid that someone is going to come take her away, well, the president right now is Barack Obama. So she's afraid that the president currently in office is going to come take her mother away. But she's trying to convince you, because that's what she was told to do, because she's just a little girl, doesn't know any better. They've convinced her to let you, try to get you believe that this is something more. This is something more than what it is. And so that's shameful when they use these little kids to try to push these political agendas. Watching the party, watching this convention over and over, it's been very difficult because there's a lot of myths, truths coming out of there. First of all, the way they treated Bernie Sanders, horrible, horrible. They pretty much used him, rode him hard, and put him away wet. I'm sure you've heard that term before. That's what they did with Bernie. And at the very end, once they got the nomination, once he expressed his endorsement, they pretty much kicked him in the butt and told him to get out. Get out. And that's what they've done to the supporters. Get out. They don't want them anymore. Now, you may have not heard this, but a bunch of the delegates left. They left, not yesterday, day before yesterday, Tuesday. They actually walked out. They staged a silent protest. They went to the media center. Once they got in the media center, the Democratic Party, in order to keep the party safe, decided to have the police come and block the doors so these delegates could not leave. They were not allowed back in the convention. Credentials were taken away in some cases. You can find all this information. I'm not just making this up. And they were put in this room. And they were kept in this room. And they were kept in there because police were guarding the doors. This is not the way our process is supposed to work. One party is not supposed to keep their own delegates, at bay with police guarding them. That's not how it's supposed to work. So once they left, a lot of empty seats in the venue. A lot of empty seats. But of course, the television is going to show you that because all of the media networks are in the tank with the government. They're not going to show you the empty seats. However, you can go online and you can find plenty of empty seats, and you can watch the videos where people are showing, delegates who still remained in there, showing you the actual empty seats within the auditorium. There were plenty of them. Now, first thing we're going to look at right here, here's an article. It said, Bernie delegate, DNC is replacing Sanders supporters with paid seat fillers to create fake unity. A Bernie Sanders delegate says that the DNC is replacing Bernie supporters with paid seat fillers in order to create a fake image of unity. Okay, you watch the video, you'll see the clips here. You'll see that a lot of empty seats as they go through. But what he's getting to is this. This was a posting that showed up in a Craigslist ad in Philadelphia. Actors needed for convention. Looking for 700 people to be utilized as actors during the national convention. 700 people. 700 people. Okay? That's a lot of people. Does that mean that's how many people left? 700? Okay? It says we have a number of empty seats that need to be filled. Number of empty seats that need to be filled. Oh, we'll get back to that woman in a minute. Okay? Need to be filled as we are currently removing a number of people and need to refill their seats. Okay? Who are the people that they are removing? Supporters of Bernie Sanders. Why are they removing them? Because they've had and used them all they need to. See, they used the Bernie people to the extent that they needed them, and now that they don't need any more, as it says, that they needed to remove these people, and now they're going to fill their seats with others so that when people are watching the television production, they think, oh, look, the auditorium was filled with all these people that love Hillary. But what they're not being told is, as the bottom of this says, you will be paid $50 each night for the remainder of the convention. You will be required to cheer at all times and will be asked to dress properly and possibly wear some promotional material. Okay, so does this sound like it's something that is a fair process? Absolutely not. They're paying actors to come to their event, and if somebody goes to that event and is there an actor to do it, then they're not helping the cause of the American people. Unfortunately, there are too many un-American, brain-dead individuals out there who will go and they'll accept the $50 of blood money from the Democratic Party, and they'll go and do this. Now, let's continue to move on because there's some more nonsense here. First, we have this woman, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I bring this up to you because we know that she used to be the head of the DNC. Now, not anymore. She was removed from her position because of her involvement with all of the scandals at the DNC that were shown to exist through the WikiLeaks email release, 20,000 emails. So one of the things that people have wondered is, what is this connection that Tim Kaine has to Hillary? How is it that he just came out of nowhere? Well, we're going to find out right now. You see, Debbie Wasserman Schultz to lead DNC. Okay, this is her about it. But how did she get there? President Barack Obama has chosen Florida Representative Deborah Wasserman Schultz as the incoming chairwoman of the DNC, the party announced late Tuesday. Wasserman Schultz was chosen for her strength as a fundraiser and as a television messenger, and for her clout in the crucial swing state of Florida. She will succeed Tim Kaine, who announced earlier Tuesday that he will run for U.S. Senate from Virginia. Okay, so Tim Kaine, the person who Hillary picked, used to be the head of the DNC, but then he stepped down in 2011, and Deborah Wasserman Schultz replaced him. So Deborah Wasserman Schultz, who helped Hillary cheat, was very instrumental in the process, was released or resigned from the Democratic National Committee for her involvement with all of the emails and the scandal that's there. So she was resigned from that position, but then she was hired by Hillary to work personally for Hillary. And this woman came into the circle of Hillary through Tim Kaine. So now Tim Kaine was selected as the vice president candidate. The question is this you scratch your back, I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of a deal? Is that what this is? Certainly seems like it might be, and with Hillary, we never know. But we can see there is a connection that's there. Now, here is a video I would like to bring your attention to. I'm going to leave this. Hillary doesn't want people to see this before the election. This is a video compilation in which Hillary is talking about how she didn't send any classified emails, and it's showing her over and over and over again in multiple locations saying she didn't send anything classified. And then it cuts to Comey at the hearing where he confirms that she did send classified. And then it cuts over to Clinton, and she's talking about how she didn't do this thing that she's accused of. And then it cuts to Comey in the hearing, and he says, nope, she did all those things. So basically what we have here is a video that confirms over and over and over the lies of Hillary Rotten Clinton. Okay? It shows out her lies over and over and over. You could see it. She's lying. She's absolutely lying. Now, what is the connection that Hillary has to Comey? Is there one? Let's take a look at that. So there have been many questions raised with regard to FBI Director James Comey's unwillingness to pursue criminal charges against Hillary Clinton for her clear violation of law regarding her personal email server and compromising national security. One such connection is now Mr. Comey's connection to the HSBC Bank, which is intricately tied to the Clinton Foundation. Comey was appointed as director of the HSBC Holdings pick in January 2013, though he did not assume that role till March of that year. According to a post on the HSBC website, he was to be an independent non-executive director and a member of the Financial Systems Vulnerabilities Committee, and was to serve for 3 years. For 3 years. Okay, so he was appointed in 2013. So what would 3 years be? 14, 15, 16. And if that was appointment in January and 3 years, it's quite possible his appointment ended in January of this year. And then after his appointment ended, he then apparently went forward to did this hearing with Hillary. So we see a connection. Comey's connected to Hillary and the Clinton Foundation. What a surprise, what a surprise, what a surprise. Well, is this going to come out? It already is. I just read you the story. People are waking up. This has been a big source of the wake up right here. The WikiLeaks email, DNC email database. On Friday the 22nd, 10:30 a.m., WikiLeaks released 19,252 emails and 8,034 attachments from the top of the U.S. Democratic National Committee, part one of the new Hillary Leaks series. The leaks came from accounts of 7 key figures in the DNC: Communication Director Luis Miranda, 10,770 emails; National Finance Director James Kaplan, 3,797 emails; Finance Chief of Staff Scott Corner, 3,095 emails; Finance Director and Data and Strategic Initiatives, Daniel Parrish, 1,472 emails. Finance Director, Alan Zachary, 1,611 emails. Senior Advisor, Andrew Wright, 938 emails. And the Northern California Finance Director, Robert Eric Stowe, 751 emails. The emails cover the period from January last year to the 25th of May this year. You can go here, put in a search term, and begin your search. What you will find through here is amazing. The DNC lied. They conspired with media in order to tell the stories that they wanted to have told. They conspired against Bernie Sanders. Okay, against Bernie Sanders. They called Mexican people names. They made fun of black people's names. They weren't too kind to their discussions about Muslims. They weren't too kind in their discussions about women. It was pretty much a group of emails that were rude, crude, and definitely socially unacceptable. This is the Democratic Party. Again, why are people flocking to the Democratic Party? Why are people supporting these lies when there's nothing but lies, lies, lies? Watching the Democratic convention was like watching a ugly version of what our country could be. An ugly version of what our country could be. And it's really shameful that that is the path that we're going on. It's really shameful that we have a party that is glorifying the thugs and is glorifying the criminals and those who are disrupting our society. It's sad that we have leaders that are following the examples of communists and pushing the communist agenda. What's even sadder is that there are Americans who are actually following this. Any American that is following along with Hillary, if you are following and you are not looking at her background because you are afraid of what you're going to see, then you are part of the problem. Anyone who is a Christian, a Catholic, or a God-loving individual that heard Ben Carson talk about Hillary Clinton being within the circle of influence of Lucifer, anyone that's a God-loving individual that heard him say that and still is voting for Hillary, you're part of the problem. You don't want to be supporting the person that is going to hurt Americans. Hillary Clinton takes money and she supports countries that abuse women and kill homosexuals. Yet there are many homosexuals in America that want to vote for Hillary Clinton despite the fact that she wants to invite into the country the people that want to kill them. I've never heard such stupidity in my whole life, and I have to wonder, why is it that members of the LGBTQ community are so keen on Hillary wanting to invite people into the country that want to kill them? I don't understand that, and I'm going to suggest that members of that community take a good hard look at who Hillary is to understand how you are putting your lives in jeopardy by supporting her. But if you want to do that, fine. Then one less person on the planet. If they come in and they kill off the gays, I guess we get to choose Muslims or gays. Which ones do we want? The LGBT community or the Muslims? Because if the Muslims come in and they want to kill, what are we going to do? We're going to fight them? We're going to get in the way of fighting them? I'm not. Because if somebody is dumb enough to invite somebody into the country that wants to kill them, that's on you. That's on them. If you want to be so stupid as to invite the person that wants to kill you into your own country, then you're going to have to deal with that. And I don't want any involvement with your own stupidity. So people better wake up out there. Better realize who you're inviting into this country. You better understand that there are problems. It's not a fear-mongering situation that's going on. What happened in all of these locations were real. What happened in France with the truck driver who ran over those people? That happened. Okay. What happened with the gunman associated with the Black Panthers, said he was, killed an officer? That really happened. The other guy, Nation of Islam connected, killed an officer. That really happened. What happened over in all the people in the clubs that got killed? Apparently that really happened. Over and over and over again, there's instances of events where Americans are being killed and there is an Islamic threat behind it. Those things are really happening. You want to turn a blind eye to it and pretend it's not going to happening, and next thing you know, there's a knock at your door, you open it, and there's the Muslim guy out there who wants to kill you because you're an American living in the great Satan? Is that what it's going to take? You see, it's the sad reality is that here in America, before things get better, unfortunately, it appears that there's going to have to be a lot of Americans that are going to have to die first. Because Americans are too frickin' stupid to understand that they're being exterminated by a party, being exterminated by a group of individuals who don't care about them. And so instead of standing up to the threat, Americans are allowing this threat to get closer and closer and closer until pretty soon it's right there in your face and you're having to confront it. But how are we going to confront it? Because we have a society of men who are wussified by the system that's out there, so these younger men aren't going to do nothing. These younger millennials, I'm not really hopeful about what's going on with them, because you just see so many that have been dumbed down and knocked down by society, by the school system. We're not raising a society of brave warriors. We're raising a society of wimps and thinking that that's cool, man. That's the way we should be. It's not how we should be. We're getting run over. And we're getting run over because we're listening to a president in the White House who isn't sharing the same American values. He says he does, but his actions speak louder than words. All you got to do is watch this man, watch the connections that he has, pay attention to that, and come to understand he's not on your side. Okay, two things to show you here before I move on to wrap things up here. First of all, here's a movie I want you to watch. It's called Clinton Cash. This is the director's cut. Clinton Cash. Everyone needs to see this movie. If you haven't watched this movie, you need to watch this movie today. And then you need to send this movie on to others that can watch this movie. Clinton Cash talks about the Clinton Foundation and the Clinton money machine. And it asks the question, how did these public servants become multi-millionaires? How did they acquire so much money when they're public servants? They shouldn't be acquiring that way. So the fact that they did means that there's something fishy going on. What's going on can be seen in this movie over and over and over again. The amount of corruption around these two individuals, it's incredible. Watch this movie. Watch Clinton Cash. Watch that movie, and I guarantee you, you will be amazed at the amount of corruption that's there. And you may say to yourself, well, this isn't all true. Okay, maybe it all isn't. But if 1% of what's in there is true, these are two corrupt individuals. 1%, only 1%. If that small amount is true, these are two very corrupt individuals. And I can guarantee you there's a lot more than 1% that is true in that movie. So you need to go watch this. You need to educate yourself on who this woman is before it becomes too late. Because if this woman gets in office, forget it. America's gone. America's gone. Watching that convention, a convention where you don't see American flags up on that stage until the third day, and that occurred only after there were many complaints about where were the American flags. Finally, there was something that was out there, but it took a couple of days. This isn't going to be a country we're going to recognize. This is going to be a place that is going to be unrecognizable, and the freedoms people think that we have are going to be gone. We're going to be gone. This isn't a fear-mongering. This is what's happening. There's a real situation occurring in America. I'm not going to turn a blind eye to it and pretend it's not existing, because I see it's existing. I understand it's existing. Many do. We need to fix this, my friends. We need to fix this. Otherwise, we're all going to end up like Bernie, kicked out after we've been used. And personally, I don't like that whole idea of being kicked out after you've been used by somebody. So, where's this all leading? Well, there's this plan, if it goes in effect, called the Dem Exit Plan. Hashtag Dem Exit. This is actually, it says here it is. The Operation Bernie Sanders is our nominee full strategy. As I said, we'd be sharing this week. Many have heard that we should leave the Democratic Party to send a strong statement before the convention. Others say we should wait and vote down ballots for other Democrats to rent Bernie's thoughtful policies so we can change the party from the bottom up. Which is it? Here's the answer with key resources our team has created to help everyone work together for optimal impact. Please share with your team if you are part of our Operation Bernie is our nominee campaign. If you do not have a team, you want to learn about how we are working together to further this movement. Please share this entire message with your teams down the network. If you don't have a team started yet, share everyone you can to anyone you can. Okay, so as you can see here, it says if you don't have an upcoming closed primary. Okay, so basically what we've got here is we have a bunch of individuals who are saying they're going to exit the Democratic Party. Exit the party. Well, that's great. It says, what's the plan? Find your state in your map. Look at the key on when you should exit. If it says Dem Exit now, do it today. Find your party registration. Change the link on the table below so you can change online. Do it today. If your link is not there, go to the map link in the post and click your state. Other things you should know. Okay. So that's the plan right there, those 4 steps. So it's a start. Look, folks, this is a moment that we really need to make proper decisions. This is a time where we need to be clear on what it is that they're trying to tell us and try to understand how they're trying to control us. Look at what happened to Bernie Sanders. Use that as an example. This is not a nice government. This is not a nice government that is working for the people. This is a government that is working against you. This is a government that wants to disarm you and then control you. How do I know that? Because every other socialistic regime that was pushing towards the communist agenda disarmed the people and then subjugated them, then controlled the people. They're trying to do the same thing here. They're working off the same playbooks as these other countries did. Saul Alinsky Rules for Radicals is one of the playbooks that Michelle Obama and Hillary are both using. They both have talked about Saul Alinsky and the influence he has had. Ben Carson told you about Saul Alinsky and his dedication to Lucifer. We've got Hillary and we got Obama, both following and accepting mentorship from Saul Alinsky, who acknowledges Lucifer as one of those who is an original radical. Guilt by association should be enough for the people who claim that they are Christians here on earth. If you can't see the writing on the wall here, then you need to go into the bathroom, you need to wash out your eyes and look again. Look again, my friends, look again. All right, so that brings us to the close. Well, actually, let's check this out. Well, let's go listen to our channeled message for today. Here we go.
Consciousness, the Pleiadian High Council of 7, channeled by Daniel Scranton. We are the Pleiadian High Council of 7, and we are pleased to offer you our words of wisdom. It is not time for you to march in unison. It is not time for you to act as one. It is time for you to express individuality. It is time for you to be different, to be unique. Just because you know that you are headed towards unity consciousness does not mean that you are all becoming the same. You are still powered by diversity, and you cannot change the fundamental differences that exist between each of the unique individuals that you are. Now, as you explore what unity means to you, you are unifying yourself. You are bringing all of your fragments and aspects together to create a whole version of you that operates as a cohesive unit. There is strength in the polarity and the dichotomy that exists within each and every one of you. You have depth. So even as the individual that you are diverse. You are diverse within yourself because you have lived so many lifetimes and because you are made up of so many different pieces. As you begin to integrate all of the different pieces, and operate as a whole being, you ensure that you will live in a world that can do the same. The answer here is always love. Love is the answer to, how do I do it? You sustain love, even when you are aware of your less than lovable aspects. When you believe in the truth of who you are as love, you can look anything that you have ever been right in the eye and feel nothing but love for self. Love will unify without homogenizing. Love will carry you into the next dimension as a whole being where you can play with other whole beings, even if you disagree with one another. That's the type of unity that expands consciousness. We are the Pleiadian High Council of 7, and we are very fond of all of you. That is all.
All right, that's a very important message. Important message, We're looking to understand the concept of diversity, but we've got it all backwards. We think diversity is throwing different people in a country and saying, okay, everybody get along, and that's diversity. Diversity is all of us being individuals within this game of life, and within our individualism, finding a way to unify because of the common thread that we have. The common thread we have is we're all children of God, children of the Creator. There's one common thread right there, but we forget that. We divide ourselves up into politics and these games. We divide ourselves in wanting to follow this human or that human because we think they have the answers. They don't have the answers. They don't have the answers to what's going on. They're just trying. Hillary and Obama have been in office now for how long? A long time. Okay, the last 8 years the Democratic Party has been in power. So when they get up there and complaining that the things that are wrong right now, they forgot the fact that they've been in power for the last 8 years. So if there's a problem that hasn't been resolved, it's because their own party has not resolved it. But yet they're going to point their finger elsewhere as if it's somebody else, because the Democratic Party is really good at playing the part of victims and really good at making people around them feel like they need to be victims. It seems to be par for the course with that group. I don't know why. I'm looking at this as an observer. Believe me, I'm not jumping on into the whole Republican thing like they're the angels of things, because they're not. Because I know during the Bush administration how much the Republicans were lying, cheating, and stealing then. It just goes back and forth. People turn a blind eye when their party's in power, but when their party's not in power, then they complain while the other person is turning a blind eye, the other team. And it goes back and forth. Rather than dealing with the real issue, we go from one extreme to the next, like we're playing a ping pong game. Back and forth, but we never resolve the problem because we keep going back and forth. When what we need to do is find that balancing point in the middle to understand that there's some good things from the right, there's some good things from the left, and we put them together. But as long as we're to the extremes of the far right and the far left, or to the extremes of our decision-making process, the results are going to be extreme. It's up to us, my friends. I keep saying it over and over. This is a very crucial time. I see a lot of people talking about the crucialness, but I don't know if Americans truly understand what is at stake. If Hillary wins this election, then what you're seeing at that Democratic convention is going to be America. If you think what you're seeing there is the way you want this country to be, then just turn a blind eye to what's going on and pretend that all this corruption is not real. But if you think that there is a problem with what is taking place, if you think that the man in office has lied and he's about to put in a woman who's going to go and continue those lies, then you just vote that way. And then over the next how many years, you just, can call yourself a victim that you didn't know any better. I know what I'm going to do. I'm voting for Trump. Going to vote for Trump this go round. Why? Because I think he's the one who could handle the problem we have. He's a businessman. We have a problem with business, with economy. So I'm going to go for the businessman with that. He wants to pause the system, pause the ride so we could fix what's going on with the immigration system. Hillary wants to bring 550% more in of people coming from other countries that want to kill Americans, that want to abuse women, and that want to kill homosexuals. Those are the people that Hillary wants to invite into the country. 550% more than what we have now. Come on, Americans, you're smarter than that. At least I hope that you are. I certainly hope that you are. All right, let's do our meditation for today. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath, and exhale again. And another breath, and exhale. I want you to imagine that you're looking at the world, you're looking at the people in the world, and I want you to imagine that people are responding to what the leaders are telling them. And as we watch people responding to the leaders, we see people acting in ways like drones. We see people making decisions as if they're on autopilot without any thought or concern about what they are doing, fast forwarding through life. And as we watch this and we see people, we become aware that there is a force, an influence that is manipulating individuals. And we see that this influence goes beyond Democrats, goes beyond Republicans, goes beyond what we see. We realize that this influence is coming from something deeper and simply playing itself out. And here we have an opportunity to make the world into a place of love, a place of cooperation, a place of peace. But we know that in order to do so, we have to stand up to the darkness. We have to stand up to the lies. Because we know that those spreading the darkness, spreading the lies are not going to stop. They're not suddenly going to turn on the light and express the truth. So we know that we must do that. And we must be brave warriors. So let's imagine ourselves putting on the armor of God. The armor of God as we go out into the world so that we are protected against all of the emotions and the lies that are moving all around us. And we find ourselves strengthened so we can walk up to the darkness, shine the light bright that shines within us, and dissipate that darkness before our eyes. So let's just imagine ourselves as beacons of light, dissipating the darkness all around us. And as the darkness dissipates, people begin to see those who are creating the negative influence in their lives. And as we see this, we become stronger and their power becomes weaker, till pretty soon this spell of illusion is broken. And once the spell of illusion is broken, the people realize the freedom they have. They realize that by bonding together, there is nothing that the governments of the world can do to stop the people, because the people outnumber the governments over and over and over again. And it's simply the illusion of fear that has kept us from stepping up, being the peacemakers that we are here to be. So let's continue sending light and love into the world today, dispelling the darkness, exposing the lies and the mistruths. And let's bring our conscious mind, let the unconscious mind continue on that journey, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith, and 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and open your eyes. All right, my friends, that is it for today. Thanks for being here. Look, I know I got heavily political today. Every now and then I need to do that. I've been watching this process, and I'm concerned for our country. I'm concerned because there are far too many lies being told, and there are too many individuals believing these lies. We have 3 months and a couple of days in which to get ourselves figured out so that we can get through this process to the next phase and make sure that we bring in the person that is going to help us. If Hillary gets in, we're not going to see the same America ever again. We're done. You may think that's a dire thing. You may think that's depressing of me to say. Pay attention to what's going on. If Hillary gets in and we become the America that is up on that stage at the Democratic Convention, we're done. We're done. So before we get to that phase, we as Americans need to step up and stop the lies and stop the depravity and stop all of those things that are misleading us. And the only way we do that is we go inside and we get right with God to understand the divinity that flows through us and start listening and understanding the ways of God and realize the mistakes of man and realize the agendas of those who are trying to manipulate. It's not all that difficult. It just requires focus, and it requires a willingness to no longer be caught up in their illusion. That's the first step, my friends. I've given you a lot of links today, things to watch. You can tell me that I'm crazy. You could tell me that you don't believe in any of this stuff. That's your choice. I've made my decisions. I know what I'm going to do. I'm presenting this to you so that you can understand and share this with others. And if you don't give a care about this country the way others do, then leave. This is America, and if you don't love America, there are plenty of other countries out there in this world that you can go live in. So if you don't love this country, leave the country. But if you love the country, then be fully invested in it. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. If you love this country, stand up for the truth. And if you love God, stand up for God. And understand the battle that is taking place right now. It requires all of us, to focus our attention so that we can move past this darkness. Choice is ours, my friends. Choice is ours. Each and every one of us. I know what I'm doing. I know the direction I'm going. And you all have to make that decision for yourselves. And many of you probably already know who and what you're about and where you're going. But for those who are confused and uncertain, you got to get clear real quick. Plenty of links available. Check it out. You guys have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. I love you. Keep loving each other. Peace. I'm out of here.